get this thing started, guys. I don't have an agenda today, which is very unusual for me. Normally, I've got 101 things to talk about. But I had lunch with Eric last week, and he's actually the one that suggested that we do a lunch and learn. He goes, because we sometimes at the 10 o'clock class, I either have 15 people or nobody. And Eric's very seldomly on there. And he said, well, he's like, Colin, I'm crazy busy, and I don't stop to sit down until I eat lunch. And he goes, this would be perfect idea if you just sit down, throw your earbuds in, grab a bite to eat, and roll from there. So I am actually starting off that tradition. I've got my plate right here. Just sit down and eat. And I didn't want an agenda today because I really wanted to talk to everybody out there about what's going on, what they're seeing, what kind of stuff would you like me to talk about going forward, and where are we going? So, if you've gone back to, if you have not done it yet, you need to go to our YouTube channel. Just Google our YouTube search bar, White Line Realty, subscribe, get the notification so that way you know when I put something out, because 99 times out of 100, the reason why I will do a class is because I have multiple people calling me, asking me the same question over and over again. Being the lazy person that I am, I'm like, you know what, let's record a video, let's get it all taken care of, and we will go from there. So, but I haven't heard much from anybody lately, and I know we've all been extremely busy with what's going on out there. And so I just wanted to kind of talk, like what's going on, what is everybody seeing out there? Talk to me. Just tell me success stories. Has anybody had any good closings lately that have come up? Has anybody had anything that's fallen apart?
I got a VA client that can't get any offers through because everyone keeps outbidding her, and she doesn't have that much cash to get 100% financing and all the help from the government with the down payment or whatever their grant stuff. But it's frustrating because we've made offers on maybe a dozen houses, and everyone's just dumping cash on top of stuff. So that's not a success story, but it's a frustration.
Frustration story.
What's that?
What was her price point?
$250.
I just we had a property on the market that we're like, Marco and I personally don't care. I don't care how you lend or how you're bringing your lending. And we just accepted a VA offer where they got concessions back. I literally don't care. I'm like, if it's a good offer and it's the first one and it happens to be VA, like I'm not a greedy seller. I'll take first come, first serve if it's a good offer. Like VA doesn't scare me. So I have a couple more coming up that I'll be accepting VA on. So I'll let you know. I'll post it in White Line so you see it first. And if it works.
Yeah, let me know. I mean, she wants to have 4 bedrooms, but I don't know, that might be something that's another hurdle. Yeah. But yeah, let me know if you got anything.
I have a ton of three bedrooms, but I'll see. I don't even know what I have coming up. I just have some stuff.
It's interesting. It's interesting. We're selling a flip in Brenham, and that's also a VA loan. It's my first time dealing with it, and it went way better than I expected it to.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like the appraisal came back above what they offered. They were asking for some concessions and stuff, so we did have to give them some credits at closing and all that stuff. But yeah,
that tends to be why people don't like VAs, is because the VA appraisers are a little bit tougher, and then also that there's limited amount of things that they can pay for, right? So the VA customers can't pay for certain things. And with that being said, that's why a lot of people want to turn that down, because the market is so hot that people are coming in with cash. If I can give Alex any kind of hope, I had a VA client in the $400,000 range, and I think it was the 9th bullet, like the 9th offer that finally got accepted. We did have to go 15,000 over, which they had to come up with out of pocket, but they were aware of that. I guess my advice is just keep going. It is what it is. You're going to find somebody sooner or later that's going to take care of this. Now, what I'm also hoping for is once these foreclosures open back up from the investment side of thing, our inventory should increase some. So that's going to be very, very helpful as well. So hang tight, keep going.
Yeah, I will. So another thing on that note, we're looking at some new builds. And have you guys heard any of these rumors, like they're taking contracts, building a house 3 months later, then they're backing out and selling the house for $200,000 more than, I don't know what, that's just rumors.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And
I've heard that.
They're not regulated by truck, so they can kind of do whatever the hell they want. And so really the only recourse is have your buyers contact attorneys if they're starting to get, like for instance, Blanca, the girl on my team, she has a new build right now that's a nightmare. They're trying to convince the buyer to back out because they kind of undersold it. They know they can get more for it, and they're like being very rude to her. They're changing up everything. Like, she was supposed to get a 3-car garage. Now they won't have room for a 3-car garage. She was supposed to get all these upgrades. They're not doing that. And they're just kind of like, oh, well, you're SOL. Do you want the house or not? And they don't care how they're treating her because they want her to back out.
Yeah.
And
But isn't it a contract? And with, I mean, if it's a contract, how is she able to back out?
Well, she can, I mean, they want her to back out, so they'll let her back out of it because they know they can turn around and relist it and make way more money than they are on her, because this has been this process has been going on forever.
And it is a contract, but you got to realize it's not a Trek contract, right? It's a contract that they wrote themselves, and it's so much in their favor, it's ridiculous. They've got 100 outs.
It's a builder contract, so they're not going to get a Trek.
Right. So that's why Hillary's saying get a lawyer.
Yeah.
See if you can scare them that way, because they may not want to have to pay the lawyer fees, but they have a whole team of lawyers, I'm sure, behind them, depending on who the builder is. So it's definitely scary, and it's a weird time to be in that, but there's not a whole lot you can do. I've had that question a lot from people, and there's really not. I mean, it's not regulated by Trek. It's not our contract. It's their contract. It's what they want to do. Now, the thing that I find peculiar is, like, yeah, I've heard somebody, they canceled the contract at 300 and turned around and sold the house for 400. What I can't believe is that houses are appraising like that, because if they've sold 30 of them on that street for $300,000, and all of a sudden the 31st one is 400,000. How is that appraising? How what in God's green earth is that appraising? But I think people are bringing cash to the table more than they ever have. So it's hurting the situation. But yeah, definitely stay on them. The other advice I would give you is make damn sure you don't make any changes. Because the minute you say you have a change order, if the builder's going to go through with it, like Hillary's saying right now, they're kind of raking her friend's client or her team's client over the coals. But if you make a change order and you request the change, then all of a sudden that gives them liberty to charge you whatever you want. Oh, you want 2 toilet paper holders? Well, that second one's going to cost you $80,000. You know what I mean? They'll hang you that way. So don't do any change orders if you're building right now. That's the other piece of advice I can give you on that.
Okay. Right now, I don't really have a success story. I guess it's success for me because I haven't really had a deal, but I've got a lot of renters coming my way, a lot. And I'm accepting them because, I mean, I need the experience, I kind of need a deal under my belt. But at the same time, it almost feels like I am working my butt off for nothing. Is that normal with renters? Am I doing something like?
It is.
Unfortunately it is. Yeah, $250 and you showed them 700 properties, right?
And then you pay a right line fee on top of it. You're doing a lot of driving, gas spending just to find a house that somebody, you're not making a huge commission on it. I think it's like what, 150, 200, then you have to pay a rental fee.
Yeah.
So, but you basically take a renter so that you can hopefully convert them to a buyer in a year or 2 years. So it's like you're planting the seed. And you basically, though, you don't want to put them in a property and then forget about them. You want to continuously touch base with them so they always think of you as their person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great place for your chime, to put them in chime to remind you.
I definitely need to do that.
Nobody
takes, there's a lease, like a lease expiration date reminder in there.
Okay, that'll be good. I have one right now that she did sign the tenant agreement or the buyer's agreement, and I actually had a previous engagement where I had to be in Dallas for 2 days. It's kind of been planned for like 6 months now in advance. So, she's looking for properties. I'm not even finding anything that she's, wanting in her criteria. It's a little bit out there. But she got upset, and it was like, you're going to be out of town. You're not dedicated to me. Then I shouldn't be dedicated to you. And I didn't really know how to respond to that. So I've kind of it was like just yesterday. So I'm like, I need to respond to that, but I don't know how to.
So I'm going to answer that question. I'm going to let everybody else answer it too. But I do want to back up one more thing that I like to do if somebody wants to rent, is I have them fill out a home application anyways to see if they qualify for financing. If you're renting, you're paying more than that mortgage is.
Right.
Right. So if they want a $1,500 house, the mortgage payment on that thing's probably $1,200. So if you can get them qualified, great. And if they can't, and that's why they're renting, like if you use Robin, the loan originator that I use, she will give you a path to home ownership. She'll say, hey, look, over the next 12 months while you're renting, there's what I want you to do. Pay off the Capital One card, go get a new truck, whatever. And she'll give them a plan. And usually in 12 months, you can get them a house. So just another thing to kind of, hey, look, while we're doing this, while we're looking, why don't you do this just so we can find out if you can buy, and just explain the benefits of being a homeowner. Now going back to how I handle people like that.
Yeah.
You gotta make sure that they well, number one, if you're not on a team, I would highly recommend it. Get on somebody's team, because then you can call and lean on the other realtors in that team. It's a beautiful part of it. I was in New Orleans this past weekend, and Sunday at 2:00, one of my clients called me. I was literally at a craps table in Harrah's. And my phone rings, and it's this client that I've been dealing with for months. And I answer the phone, and he says, man, there's this house we want to see. Can you look at it? So I stepped back for a minute. I looked at the house, and of course, offers were due at 5:00 that day. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah. So I made a call to one of our other agents, said, hey man, can you run them by this house real quick? Sure as shit, they loved it. They wanted to put it in an offer. So I was able to step away from the table and just go put in this offer for them. And, it wasn't that hard to do that part remotely.
Yeah.
However, showing the house was one of those things. But I always explain to everybody, I'm like, look, real estate doesn't sleep. If I don't take time off, I will never get time off. I said, it doesn't mean that I don't care about you. It just means that I had a wedding to go to. You know what I mean? I have a wedding to go to. I'm sorry. Everybody wants to see how, and I tell everybody, I was like, everybody wants to see houses at 5:00 on the weekday, right? As soon as they get off work, they want to go look at something. Guess what time my kid's softball practice is? Okay.
Right. Exactly.
It's at 5:30 on weekdays. I'm the softball coach. It's like, I'm dedicated to my family. I'm dedicated to you. We'll work something out. If you're on it, I said, I may not be able to show you every house, which, you know what I mean? It's okay. I mean, you know how to look at a house, right? Right. We'll go look at it, but I'll definitely get you taken care of, and it just may not be that exact moment that you're ready. But we'll get you taken care of. And that's why we do have the teams at White Line. So, or just reach out, depending on where you're at. So, Oscar has a team in the Seguin, New Braunfels area, right? He's not on my team, but I knew he was in Seguin. This house was in Seguin. I just called Oscar. Hey, Oscar, what are you doing right now? I was like, can you run somebody by a house real quick? I'd really appreciate it. He's like, yeah, not a problem. And he went and took care of it. Awesome. If he wasn't able to do it, I was going to call Eric. If Eric wasn't able to do it, I was just going to go down the line.
Just post it. Yeah. I did mention that to her. I was like, if I am out of town, but if there's something comes up that you like, I'll reach out to another realtor and see if they can show you. And that's when she was like, well, I signed an agreement with you, if you're not dedicated. But this is also a client who, an hour after speaking with her for the very first time, called me back and was like, if you're not dedicated to me, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, how dedicated are you going to be to me? Because you've got kids. And I'm like, I'm fully dedicated, so I had a feeling it was going to be an issue, but I was just wondering, like, is there a better way I could have responded?
Well, the other advice I'd give you is, but don't be afraid to set expectations up front.
That's what I was going to say. Like, if you let them run you from the very beginning, you're never going to be in control. So like, whenever I have a client and they start kind of giving me like pushback from day one, I'll just be like, look, the market is crazy. So what we're not going to do is look at properties every single day. I can't drop I can't drop everything for you. Now I will if I can, but what we should do is tell me the days you can go look all day long. And then the day before, you're going to send me a list of like your top 10, 5, 10, whatever, because I know when I go and like research them, they're not all going to be available anyway. So send me a list of 10 properties that you want to go buy, like you want to look at to buy or to rent. And I'll research them like at 6 p.m. the night before. I'll make a list. I'll tell you where to meet me, what time to meet me, and we'll go from there. And like, I kind of set the expectation, like, you're going to pick a house this day. Like, not this, let's go look at 500 houses. We're going to look at your top maybe 10 in a day, and you're going to make an offer on 1, 2, or 3. And you're just going to go with that. And then obviously there's going to be the exception. Like, there might be a time where they just all don't work for whatever reason. Okay, that's fine. But I kind of control it from the beginning, saying this is how we're going to do it. And then that's the way it is. Because
I like that.
Nobody with kids and a life, I mean, even single people, you can't just drop everything for this one person all the time. Right. It's just not possible. And so you just got to set that expectation from the very beginning.
Okay. I think that's where I dropped the ball. So I'll make sure I try that next time.
One of the other things,
excuse, like, the market's crazy right now. And they're like, oh yeah, I know. And they kind of help.
Yeah. The other thing I let everybody know is, like, I don't sit in front of my computer all day. Okay. Yeah. I'm driving in the car. I'm on the phone a lot, right? I will always get back to you. just realize, like, if it is a hot emergency, call me or text me. You know, if not, just bear with me. You know, I just let people know. And I know this sounds hard right now, especially since you're a little bit newer and a little bit green. Like, sometimes you just don't work with everybody. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah, not everybody's your
it'll be all right.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But unless that's your one and only client and you can dedicate 110% to them, then great. But I let all my other people know. It's like, hey, I'm busy just like you are, right? I was like, I will help you. I was like, I'm the best in the business when it comes to this, but you know, you got to be patient with me because I don't just sit at my computer all day waiting for you to call.
Right. Right.
So.
Okay. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Anybody else running into anything else? Any craziness?
I did. Hi everyone, I'm Celia. I'm new to White Line. I'm a month in with White Line, but before I was with EXP. So
welcome from the dark side.
Welcome.
Thank you. Just to let you know about the rentals, my first year I did several rentals. And this year alone, 3 of my rentals that I did, like 3 of my first rental transactions, my first transactions in general, they came to me this year and they bought a home. My first 3 closings were, so that's some hope. It does, it's a pain, but you know, it pays off down the line. And all I would do was send little like Mother's Day cards and a Christmas card and just, hey, how's it going? Just a text here and there. And, you know, when they're ready to buy, they're like, hey, can you help us? And my first 3 transactions of this year.
Awesome. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yep, that gives me hope.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely will. Okay. So I have a client and he's approved her for 170. He doesn't want to, at first he didn't want to go over 135. So I was like, oh, yikes. So I showed him the houses that were for the decent ones. I think it was maybe like, we went to see 10. He went ahead, he was like, oh no. And I said, okay, Mr. Montes, you have to, if you're not going to, you know, go with something that's 135, you have to increase your price. He was like, okay, well, let's do 155. We've submitted it. He doesn't have any extra money to put. He's approved for 170, but he can only afford a payment of 155.
Okay. So
we've submitted offers and at list, but everybody's beating us, and I don't know what to do. I don't know how to help him. He needs something. He's selling his house in Laredo to buy here because his job moved him here. So I'm like, I don't know what to do to sweeten my offer. He's conventional. He's not FHA. So he's going to have to put 5% down. And he has closing costs and he has the 5% down. That's it. So I don't know. What do you suggest? What can I do to sweeten my offers?
It's just a rough price point.
That's a rough, I'm with you on that.
Not a whole lot of price points under 150.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
so one of the first things that I would say, and it sounds like you've already looked at some houses, so this may not really directly apply to you, but for everybody else listening, somebody coming from the Valley up here is going to have very different expectations on what $150,000 will get them. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now the Valley's definitely picking up because of the whole Elon Musk thing and everything that's going on down there. Their market's starting to really churn and prices are starting to climb. However, $150,000 in the Valley means something way different than $150,000 here.
Right.
I would actually spend the time right at the very beginning. Like they're going to give you I can't remember what the show is. It's one of those HGTV shows where the guys are like, I want island in the kitchen. I want a jacuzzi bath. And they have all this huge list of demands. And then like, and my budget's $150,000. So you take them to the house. It's absolutely perfect for them. You show it to them and you go, this house is $350, right? You get their head right quickly. Another fun thing that I've actually done to some of the people that are in the lower price points is I'll take them to some of the off-market houses that I get as an investor that are selling for $130 that don't have walls. You know what I mean? And I'm like, this is what $130 will get you. Okay, so like this is the San Antonio market. I'm not blowing smoke up your rear end. I mean, and so they know I'm for real on that. And then we'll reevaluate what their things are. So, hey, look, maybe I don't need a 3-car garage. Maybe I, you know what I mean? Whatever it might be. That's very helpful for setting expectations. But your question was, and to answer it as best as I possibly can, how can I sweeten my offer? Having been a lot of sales, if you've got one of the letters, if you've got a letter, please send it in. I listed
Do
a
you
house.
mean
I
a
think I
letter
got
like an approval letter, or I've heard of people sending personal letters?
No, like this is why I need the house. This is the kind of person I was.
Letter.
A personal,
A
okay.
cover letter, yeah.
The sappier, the better.
The sappier, the
and
better.
I know it sounds weird, but oh my dear God, like I had a house that I listed. I think I got 22 offers in 24 hours. And about 3 of them had letters on them. And I was selling it. I was actually selling it for Eric. It was one of his flips. And Eric's all about the bottom line. He doesn't even want to read the letters, right? I don't even care. But I read the letters, and I'm like, but this guy is only $2,000. You know what I mean? And it helped me. And that most realtors, most people would want to see that. Eric doesn't want to see that, right? So they told me not to give it to him, so I got to abide by that. But that is a good trick. Get a letter, put it together. Hey, they're moving up from the area because his grandmother's dying, and he wants to be close to home. And you know what I mean. Whatever, the sappier, the better. Okay, and make it factual. Don't lie. Don't, you know what I mean. But that's number one. Number two is if proof of funds help a lot. If you're offering over, which I know you said you didn't have any, but if it's like, hey, I'm offering 20,000 over, and here's proof that I have 20,000 over. I did a whole thing about this. If you are making an over offer price and you have so let's say the house is for sale for 200 and you're going to offer 300, but in the third party financing addendum, you have it that it has to appraise for 300. That's not good. Say, hey, look, it needs to appraise for 200 and I got 100 cash, right? You need to make sure that's worded perfectly. In your particular instance, with no extra money, I would put as fast of a closing as I possibly could. I would pay for as much of the closing costs as I possibly could, and I would include a cover letter that is as sappy as possible.
Yeah,
Also,
we did the letter, and just like they're just like, no, thank you. Like I had one agent call me. He's like, yeah, thanks for your offer, but it didn't even make the top 10%. He's like, it's way at the bottom of the list. And I said, yeah, I figured that, but my clients wanted to put an offer, and I tried, and he's like, yeah, sorry, and I don't know where you're gonna find something. He was like, because so many people are looking at the people that are coming with cash, people that are coming with, they're waiving the appraisal and all these crazy things, and I don't know. So I'm like stuck with I'm not stuck. I feel bad for my client, and I don't know. He wants to see houses, but at this point I'm like, okay, so I kind of feel like maybe I don't know. I'm so confused. I'm so just
stay with it. Something will come up. I mean, if you go on the MLS right now, I'm sure you can find houses in the 150 range that have been on the market for 30 days. You know what I mean? That's probably because there's something wrong with it. And you just need to let them know, hey, look, you may have to change out some windows. You may have to replace the water heater, heads up.
Are there houses on the market that are like below maybe like 140, 135, and then that way when he puts the offer, he can sweeten the deal by offering more, because he can go up to 150, kind of start lower. You just got
to be mindful of the appraisal, because if it's appraised for the whatever he's offering, either the seller comes down, which they probably won't want to, or the buyer pays that difference and he has no money to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of a nefarious trick, make it contingent on the appraisal. And if it doesn't meet appraisal, then go back and renegotiate,
And hopefully by then, if like you get your offer accepted and it doesn't appraise, like hopefully by then the seller's already invested that time that they're willing to just work with you versus go back and start over on square one. So, I mean, honestly, there isn't a lot of inventory in general, but especially not in that price point. I would just keep at it and set the expectation with that person that it's going to take a lot longer than you're thinking, because there's already no inventory. Your price point is already, there's like a lot of factors on why this is not a good situation. There's no inventory, not in that price point, and you have no money out of pocket. So just at the expectation that it's going to take a lot longer than he's probably thinking it's going to go. Like, it just is what it is. You can't make houses appear out of thin air. And like I said, maybe show him some properties that are way like distressed, to be like, this is kind of what we're looking at. Like this, like, you're not going to find what you're thinking in this price point. It's not going to be like the perfect house. It's like going to be a starter.
Right.
Also try and really reach out. I would recommend reach out to like everybody you know. Start building relationships with other real estate agents, with wholesalers, with anybody, because I find a lot of my deals for my clients by getting ahead of the market, and I reach out to everybody I know and I say, what do you have coming up that's not even listed yet? Let me have first dibs in it. I have a very serious buyer. So I've gotten a couple of properties under contract because they haven't even gone to the market yet. And I just get in with the people first.
Yeah, that's the other trick, is keep your ear to the ground. Talk to your investor friends, get on Facebook groups that are investor, you know what I mean? And get to meeting people, go to the meet and greets, do everything you can to try and get your ear to the ground on these things. Because as an investor personally, like I've got a house that's supposed to close June 8th. It's one of my flips. And all I did was put a sign in the yard that said coming soon. I let a few people know. I got a full price offer right out the gate, which I probably could have gotten over asking. But the fact that they put it under contract before the HVAC was even finished being installed was very sexy to me, because now I know the HVAC inspection's on Thursday, we're closing the next Friday, and we're out the door. And that's worth a month's worth of time for me. You're right. So, you know, just utilize your network, man. Your network is your net worth, right?
And let's stay in touch, because I have a couple of personal properties coming on the market soon that might work for him. I need to check the price point, but I think there might be one coming up that would be good for him. So I'm in that process of like cleaning them all up and getting ready to relist. So.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
I've got a fourplex that's coming soon if they want to rent.
I just bought 2 fourplexes today, so
I saw that. I'm a little jealous. I'm really liking the way these multifamilies are working out.
Yeah.
But I am looking at a 40 unit right now too.
Oh, cool.
Definitely the biggest thing I've ever bought.
So are you guys buying the multifamily and renting out to tenants, or are you buying the multifamilies and selling the entire like building? How does that work?
You can do either.
Oh, okay. I really want to get into the investment side. So I was talking to you, Hillary, at the last, I think it was the investor, thing we had. Yeah. So I was like, oh, investment, that's pretty cool. I want to get into that. And then when she had her get together, I went to that, and it just opened my eyes. And I was like, okay, so I need to do this like yesterday. Learn about wholesaling. So excited. I had no idea, like you hear things like, and I'm just like, no, that's for the rich and famous only, it's not for us little people.
No, girl.
I'm telling you, I'm just now.
That's how you get rich and famous.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been watching videos.
You get cash flow by buying. It's like Monopoly, right? When you play that game, you want to buy all the houses and then upgrade to like the apartments or whatever. And every time you pass go, which is the first of the month, you just collect all this rent. I mean, there's different avenues in real estate that there's so many different things that people are doing. People are owner financing, people are flipping, people are renting. My personal goal and my husband is to cash flow, which is going to lead to financial freedom, right? Like I could flip all day long, but to me, flipping is just another job. You got to go find the flip, then you got to flip it, then you got to sell it. And if that market crashes and you're using hard money, you're going to get in big trouble.
Yeah.
So my husband and I always do rentals because one, capital gains tax is a lot lower if you hold a property for over a year. So if I decide to sell it, I'll sell it in a year after I rented it. So the taxes are a lot lower on the sale. But also in any market, if it's an up market or a down market, people need to rent properties. So for me, it's like low risk investing. And I like the cash flow. If I have like 500 units and they're all making me $300 a month, well, I don't have to do jack shit. I literally don't have to do anything. I can go on a year trip somewhere and money comes in whether I'm working or not. So that's kind of our game plan is the cash flow. But there's so many avenues you could do anything and be successful in real estate. It just depends on what your goals are. So I would really go back and just be like, what are my future goals? And just constantly be working towards that.
And I like the same strategy too. I like to do what's called a BRRRR strategy, where I get my money back out and I end up holding the asset and have some cash flow going behind it. and I want to buy more and more of these. So I actually bounce back and forth between a bunch of different, I mean, I wholesale 2 properties last month. I flipped one. I've got, you know what I mean? It's like, and then I've got, you know, my duplex, my 4-plex, you know, all these things that I'm working on holding. So, you know, I agree with Hillary. Like when you're flipping houses, it's a job. It's just a straight up job. And it's the only job where you could possibly lose money by doing it. I've had flips where I've been in it for 6 months and lost money on it, you know, and you're just like, God, I've been working on this for 6 months and I owe you $10,000. This is stupid, you know? And there's a lot of things that go in with that, but yeah, figure out what your goals are, really kind of align that. And also, Eric and I have been talking about this, and we are going to be pulling it off. I'm not sure when we're going to start, but once a month, we're going to have a live in-person investor training.
Yes.
Where we get together and we walk you through what we do, like our properties, you know, real hands-on, the actual numbers, the actual exit strategies, you know, just cut off. Because what I told Eric is I hate doing these investor things where everybody speaks in these generalities. Like, it's like, oh yeah, you could do this. And I'm like, well, yeah, but if you could do it, why isn't everybody doing it? Well, there's a lot of pitfalls along the way that you need to see. And like, I want the tangible hands-on. And I swear to God, I'm going to write a book about this. And I told myself I'm going to start a personal YouTube channel where I literally walk everybody through every single deal I've ever done and why I did it, what was going on, and the actual number outcomes. Because it's not always, you know, there's a house in Seguin. If you go back and look at it, I took that house from studs, absolute piece of crap, and made it beautiful. I mean, it was a great house. It was a very long time. I ran into a lot of idiots at the city, had a really hard time doing it. And yeah, when the whole thing came out and I sold it, it was the most expensive house on the block. It was burnt. I made $3,000 and I was on that project for 9 months. So yeah, I looked real good on Facebook and all the videos and stuff, but my bank account didn't look a whole lot better because of that project. So I just think it's important that people know the truth behind that. And when I just had a flip where I lost 16 grand. I mean,
oh my God.
Yeah, it hurt. And that was because of the appraisal. I was furious, but whatever.
I've been watching your videos, your like investment training videos, been watching them and trying to really, you know, take notes and everything. But I am a hands-on person, you know, so if y'all did like the monthly meetup, I would definitely love it, you know, seeing real numbers. I hear like, yeah, you could do it, you could wholesale. I'm like, okay, cool. How? Where do you start? I mean, like, where do you start as in, where do you find these? And, you know, it's like, like I said, y'all know I'm new. So the questions I have are like, okay, how?
I'm going to tell you right now, that's everybody's question.
Right. I'm sure.
How do you find them? That is everybody. Hillary, I guarantee you, Hillary spends half her time thinking about that. Where can I find a house? I was actually thinking this morning as I was driving around, that's my job, is to find houses. Find them. You know, it's tough. It takes a lot of creativity, a lot of hustle, and just persistence, really.
I thought it was like a secret underground club that investors have. That's where all the houses go. So I was like, okay, how do I get access to this? So I have one question about wholesaling, and then, you know, I'll stop hogging the session. With wholesaling, I know that it's, you know, it's not selling a property, it's selling the contract. If the deal does get to closing, you can't find an investor for some reason or another to sell this contract to, you end up having to buy the home. How often does that happen?
You don't end up having to buy the house.
Yeah.
So there's ways to get out of a contract. And one of the things that in wholesale, like for instance, whenever we wholesale, my husband and I, we put a $10 earnest money in. So technically, like, you can't perform, you lose your earnest money, but you're really only losing $10 out of it. Now, obviously, the end goal is to buy, is to do whatever you can to find a buyer, right? But like, let's put it this way: whenever I've had a wholesale transaction and I can't find a buyer, like the contract just terminates. I'm not forced to buy it. The reason I'm wholesaling it is because I personally don't want to buy it. There's a lot of ways to get out of the contract. So one, I would get really versed in contracts and all your documentation, because there are ways to get out of it. Also, I mean, you want to definitely start building your buyer's network, just because you want to try and sell and move everything. There are ways to get out of it. You're not forced to buy it.
Okay.
You would lose your earnest money. You would want to make sure to do it correctly. So if you're not familiar with wholesale, I would definitely pair up with somebody who's familiar with it, because I know Eric would have a field day if you're out there wholesaling and not knowing. It's very tricky. The lines get blurred in wholesaling, and you have to super disclose since you're an agent. So I would definitely
Oh yeah.
double,
I
triple,
disclose that I'm
quadruple
an
check.
agent. Like y'all have drilled it in me so much that I will tell anybody that I'm an agent and it has nothing to do with real estate. I'm getting on people's nerves, but I'm just like, look, I'm covering my ass because if I do not disclose this, I will be in so much trouble. So
And
like,
there's also that form inside of the agents portal
uh-huh,
that's called an exhibit alpha. If you do
yeah,
wholesale one, just fill that out. It just basically says we're not representing you and we may sell this contract.
right.
But yeah, and then also like a simpler way is just put an option period. I do that all the time too. You know what I mean? I'll put an option period for 7 days. Give me 7 days. If I can't sell it, you can have it back. And then the expectation's been set.
Tiffany, one quick thing. I'm sorry, I'd like to interject here. I
Yes.
think it's very important when you do decide to tackle on the wholesaling aspect. It's key if you want to stay doing that, for example, as an exit strategy for you. I think it's really important that you do consider that not all the properties that you put under contract you will close on, but that's the end goal, right? You don't want to tie up a property and give hopes to a homeowner that's about to lose their house to foreclosure or is in a tight situation, and then in the end you can't perform. I've been doing this for such a long time, and we have the systems down with a team. I have a team that does all of this for me, so I'm just speaking by experience, though, that it's really important that I like the fact that you think about that, because it's very important to try to close on everything. That's the whole point of wholesaling, right? Not just tying up and then, oh, well, I can't perform, I can't do it, and letting it go. Yes, it's only $10 or 50 or 20 or whatever it is that you agree with the homeowner, but the whole point is that you're trying to solve their problems, give them solutions. So the way I see it is that if we try to apply 3 types of different exit strategies in case the wholesaling deal goes down, right? My personal experience and my advice is try to figure out a way creatively, think outside of the box to make it work. If it doesn't work at all, why even put it under contract to begin with? So if you can't, wholesale it, buy, fix and flip or burr it, don't even put it under contract. Maybe give another solution to the homeowner, subject to. It's getting more complicated, right? But there's so many exit strategies. An exit strategy that's working a lot for us is we're doing a lot of wholetailing, and it's phenomenal. I'll be more than happy to jump on a call with you, kind of a quick overview and share and do a case study of a deal that I did. I'm in Houston, and I did a deal in San Antonio with my team. And it was like from the moment we extracted data from Bexar County records to the moment we found an end buyer, it was like a 21-day time period. And I don't even live in San Antonio. So I would be more than happy to kind of guide you on what I did that can help you. And it's worked phenomenally. Not everything works as a wholesale deal, but it's a hybrid between wholesaling and not wholesaling, but actually close on the house. You just clean it up or power wash it or do something minimal, and then you will slap it right back on the market. And we did very well with this one property. It's over.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
$40,000 in assignment fee, which is phenomenal in 21 days. So
awesome.
Tiffany, I would also recommend, that was really good, Elizabeth. I would recommend also really starting to gather your buyers.
Okay.
So if you don't have like MailChimp, throw them all in MailChimp. You want to get buyer's name, phone number, email, and like the bigger buyer list you have, the faster you can move these properties as far as a wholesale transaction goes. So that once you get something under contract, you have like multiple ways that somebody could buy it and pick it up. So you're not terminating those deals. Connect with a ton of wholesalers. You want to be making relationships with wholesalers, because if you bring a contract to the table, for instance, if you contract a property with a seller for a distressed property, but you're like, I don't have a buyer, bring it to me. I might be your end buyer personally, or I also have thousands of buyers in my network that I might be able to move it, and then we make a fee off of it with you, or we JV on it. We actually do a lot of our wholesale transactions by other people bringing us deals that we might not buy personally, but we might. Like Marco and I are super in buy mode right now. So we might buy them, but if we don't buy, or it doesn't make sense for our portfolio, then we have a ton of buyers we can pair you up with.
Nice.
Close on it. So build your buyers list. I would go on Facebook groups and find anybody who's an end buyer, get their contact info, make a list, put it in MailChimp, blast out those emails.
Nice,
Oh, and
yeah, I will do that. I'll look at my homework.
there's the old trick too, which is a little nefarious. Have you ever been driving around and you say, flip potential house, for sale 140, worth 280, call this number?
Bandit signs.
Yeah, that's bullshit. Like there is no house with those numbers on it. They're looking for people to call. And when you do, they'll be like, oh yeah, well that one's sold, but let me get your name and number.
They're just looking for buyers.
Yeah, they're looking for buyers.
They're,
Now, granted, that is illegal. It is illegal to do that.
you get a Google Voice number. Then they can't.
Yeah, if you put out bandit signs without the little city sticker on it, that's illegal.
That's ghost marketing is what it's called. Ghost marketing, which is not advisable. But
Not
ghost
advisable.
I did not know people do that. Wow.
And Tiffany, going off of what Hillary said about finding buyers, I had a very, very compact buyer list of friends, close friends in San Antonio that I had this amazing deal in, I can't remember, Beacon Hill area. And none of them really just took it. So, I mean, it was a really great deal. So what we ended up doing is one of our dispo VAs, they went onto the a couple of San Antonio groups, and we found a repeat buyer. Now we've locked up 3 more deals and they're buying all of them. They're like, we want everything because this is such a great deal. We want more, we want more, we want more. So a big list isn't necessarily the best. I used to have 30,000 names and buyers since, I'm talking about a list that I built since 2000, I don't know, 5 or 6.
Okay.
And I mean, that list has reduced tremendously because when I call, it's like, or when we call, it's like, oh, I'm not investing anymore. Oh, I'm in something else. I'm not doing this anymore. So we've had to restart and rebuild our list several times. And sometimes even if you have 10 people on your list, as long as they're repeat buyers, those are the ones you want to, those are your VIP buyers, the ones that are going to buy, obviously from. So
there's a lot of
homework is building my list. And like y'all said, really, like I think Hillary said, I really getting to know my contracts so I can figure out, creative ways of getting out. And, so that's something I'll start working on. I wasn't going to jump into wholesale yet because I know I am nowhere near ready. And I know Eric will have my butt if I do this wrong. So I was like, I'm going to really train, learn, the ins and outs, get with you guys before I even attempt at, doing this because I don't want to do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, get to looking for a house and, once you catch, it's like a dog chasing cars. Once you catch a car, call somebody, you know what I mean? And we'll come out there and we'll show you the right way to do it. That's what we're here for, man. That's we Eric and I talk about this a lot. What is the cultural white line? And we really don't want to have a specific culture. That's why we have the different teams, is so you could kind of do things your own way. But the one thing I was really big on is that everybody works together. I don't care what, you know what I mean? There's no, if I even smell something like rivalry or being mean or something, I'm going to be all over that person because it's just like, there's too much out there. There's no need to be selfish, help if you can. So go find something. If you find it, let me know. Absolutely.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Yeah. What else we got? Anybody else running into anything?
I have a quick question about the third-party financing addendum. So at my previous broker, he told us to go ahead with a conventional loan to always submit the right to terminate. Now,
for those of y'all that don't know, Celia, I'm going to cut you off. For those of y'all that don't know, with the conventional loan, there's a second piece of paper that needs to have that basically allows you to terminate based on the appraisal. That is not written into the third-party financing addendum on conventional.
Okay,
sorry, go ahead.
So I was reading the third-party financing yesterday in detail because I'm trying to figure it out. An agent called me yesterday and we were talking about it, and so then I started reading over it. So the right to terminate. Okay, my previous broker told me, okay, so always submit the right to terminate with the third-party financing if they're conventional. Well, when I was reading it yesterday, and the right to terminate is for the appraisal, but on the contract on page 2 on the top, I don't know what letter it is, it reads that if the client doesn't get, if it's not lender approved, then they have the right to, well, they can get their earnest money back, terminate the contract and get their earnest money back. So does that little statement right there, does that not cover a conventional loan, like a person conventional loan whose appraisal doesn't come back?
What
So
exactly are you looking at on page 2? In earnest money and option termination?
No. Hold on 1 second.
Or are you looking at the third party?
At third party finance. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
yeah, because I have read through it a lot lately too, especially in such a hot market. I'm not looking at it right now. But I will say this. An extra layer of protection is never a bad idea.
Mhm.
It's always, I feel like the third party financing in general is very vague. Regardless of what loan you use, it's very vague. So what you want to make sure is you're trying to remove questionable doubt, if that makes any sense. So I would still continue to fill that out if you believe the appraisal could be an issue. Just because I've obviously never been to court over it. I feel like it's very vague. That extra layer of protection, I'd go ahead and do it. I would not try and count on a vague statement somewhere in another document that might be able to get you out.
I always submit that for my
I do
clients.
too.
I always do, because I don't want my clients coming back and being like, you failed me. I lost my earnest money, especially in today's market when people are doing way higher earnest money than 1%. There's no way in hell I'm going to lose you money. So I will fill out every document I need to give that extra protection, because technically, like I mentioned earlier, there's so many outs in a contract, but I don't want to go to court and have to fight over every little, like Colin said, every way something stated or every verbiage to try and win money back, when that's going to cost more money just to go to court. Like if it's conventional, throw that lender's right to terminate due to appraisal. Always use that document as a protection, unless your clients are so confident that they're like, we don't really care, we're going to pay whatever we have to pay out of pocket. That might be a way to not submit it. If they're going to come to cash and they've got $50,000 and they're willing to pay whatever the difference is between the appraisal and the sales price, and they don't care. But otherwise, like I always do that. Now, if it's FHA or VA, you don't need to do that, right? But I would, like Colin said, always just have that extra protection, because there's no reason not to.
Yeah, I always, excuse me, I always submit it also, but a friend of mine, she's an agent, but she's also trying to buy, and she submitted the right to terminate, and she's trying to buy in Houston, and the agent in Houston called her and told her that the reason, one of the main reasons why she didn't win the bid is because she submitted the right to terminate. And we were like, what? So then that's why we were talking about it yesterday. So, and then I read it's in the third party financing. She was like, maybe I shouldn't have submitted the right to terminate, because it's already in the third party financing addendum that if it doesn't come back at if it doesn't appraise, then she can back out and get her earnest money back.
So the only reason that would turn me off in that exact same scenario is if you went over asking. If I listed my house at 250 and you said 275, but it's got to appraise for 275, I'm not going to like that. Because I put the price of 250 on it, having done my due diligence, checking the comps. I think this is where it'll comp out. I've done my homework. Now you're saying you'll go over, but you think it'll appraise for 25,000 more? I don't think it will. So I'm going to immediately dismiss yours. Now, if you say 275 with the right to appraise, if it doesn't appraise at 250, then I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure it'll appraise for 250. Then now you're still in negotiations.
Right.
However, I just reiterate, cover your butt. The only recourse for the seller in that is to retain the earnest money, and you could fight over that. It's just not worth it. I mean, just be careful how you do it. Don't put a big number on that right to terminate on the appraisal, because appraisers, I feel like they had a meeting. all the appraisers of the state came together and they're like, nope, nothing higher than this. It's like, because I can't believe I get beat up on some of these appraisals when I do. I'm like, come on, guys.
Just to reiterate, Colin, like I had a listing for a client and I got 2 offers that were really good. One was over by $4,000 with no right to terminate. And one was $20,000 over asking with the right to terminate. And I looked at it, I was like, this is a joke. I don't care that you just offered me 20,000 over because you're telling me you're going to back out if it doesn't appraise for 20,000 over. And I know it's not going to appraise for 20,000 over. So why in my right mind would I tell my seller to go with that $20,000 offer when we're going to get 30 days down, the appraisal is going to come back and it's not going to appraise. Like, I'm not stupid. Like Colin said, everyone right now is listing at the top of the market, the highest price point they can go. So anyone trying to submit it, look at my offer for 20,000 over, but you're telling me you're going to terminate if it doesn't, I know it's not going to appraise for that. Are you crazy? So I was like, no. And I think people are doing that because sellers are getting kind of greedy. They want every penny they can get. And they're like, oh, that would have been a great offer. Like if they didn't have that right to terminate, I would have been like, hell yeah, go with that 20,000 over, because they don't care what it appraises for. But if you're gonna submit this amazing over asking offer with the right to terminate, that's not servicing my client. That's not me directing them in the right way, because they can just basically waste my client's time and my time essentially in the circumstance.
Yeah, and the key word, I think, or the key problem in here is what Hillary said, is like, you won't know for 30 days. Like, appraisers are so far behind. You're just going to be furious in 30 days.
And you're going to get your seller all excited because they're all like, yes, we got this amazing offer. I'm going to make way more money than I thought. Well, no, you're not, because you know that it's not going to appraise, especially right now. Appraisals are coming in under, I think, what the house is actually valued at. And so you're just like wasting everyone's time, and you're going to have to go either negotiate down on that price, which your seller is going to be really disappointed in, or you're going to have to start over if y'all can't come to an agreement and go back to square one with relisting it. So I just think that's.
And to piggyback on that, you want to make sure your client's very well aware of that, because then all of a sudden your name's going to be mud. And
they're going to be mad at you.
They're going to be mad at you.
Right. So I had a similar situation as Hillary, and I had $40,000 offer over asking on one of my listings. And it's our job as agents to inform our clients and say, look, this sounds amazing. This sounds great. But honestly, we have another offer that's right at asking price. This is the amount the house is going to appraise for, hopefully, because you run your comps, right? But yeah, I mean, it's our job to help and guide our clients and advise them. Look, yes, this sounds very enticing at 40,000, but like it's already been mentioned, will it appraise? They're going to back out. So we the seller ended up going with the price the asking price, right at asking price. And we were fine. We appraised. We were okay. We closed within the time frame, quote unquote, even though we had a couple of delays due to a second appraisal. But it worked out versus that 40,000 one, which sounded great. But I mean, that's just not a realistic offer. I even asked the agent, how is it that you're offering 40,000? The house is not going to appraise for that. We already know this. And so she's like, oh yeah, we don't want contingencies. I'm just tired of showing my buyers houses and houses. And I'm like, wow, okay. So yeah, watch out for that.
So is there a form that I'm about to have a listing, and I know it's a multiple offer situation. So is there a form that can be submitted to waive the appraisal, or besides the third party financing, on the box you check, is that the only thing, or so I can know what to look for? Because I've had listings before, but not in this crazy market. So before I list, I want to know, if we want to waive the appraisal. So
I'm confused. Let me stop you real quick. I'm confused because you say you have a listing that you want to waive the appraisal on.
Yeah, well, no, we're looking for we want a buyer who's going to waive the appraisal, because the property is, it's not going to appraise. It's not going to appraise for the asking price, but I know it'll sell. I know it'll sell. One in the neighborhood just sold, and the comps don't support the price it sold for. So somebody wanted it bad. So I just need to, I want to know if there's a form that will be submitted with the contract to me and my seller that will, that I can look for, like, okay, well, they're going to waive the appraisal. So, this one's like on the top 2% or whatever.
So what I don't think there's a form. Anybody can correct me if I'm wrong, but you're going to look for the termination on the termination of contract based on appraisal. If they don't submit that, then you're pretty good on the conventional side. And on the FHA VA side, you're going to want to make sure that the second page of the third party financing addendum, where it says it must appraise at and a loan not less than, you want to make sure those numbers are in agreement with what you're thinking. And then also I'd put something in the agent remarks on the listing. You know what I mean? Offers with a, contingent appraisals above this amount will not be considered. You know what I mean? And so you're basically saying, yeah, you better come with it. And then if it's a cash transaction, nobody cares. So that's how I would handle it. I don't know if anybody else has a better idea, and that's just off the cuff.
Okay.
There's a video that I did about a month ago on this. So go to the YouTube channel and I talk about how to submit offers that are sexy based on that, but just work that backwards.
Okay. Okay.
And you can see all the forms and all that stuff that I was talking about exactly where. It's pretty detailed.
Okay. Thank you.
You got it. Anybody else? Somebody tell me a good story. I got a good story.
What's your story, Colin?
I had 2 weeks ago, I had 3 closings that were supposed to happen on the same day, and none of them happened. They all got pushed back. I ended up with 3 closings the following Friday that all of them went through, and I wholesaled 1 property that same day. So on one day I had 4 transactions closed, which is my record so far.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was really, and you know what was so
amazing.
funny about it? I literally went and played golf. Like there was like, one was in Bernie, one was in, like, they were all over the place. And I told everybody, I'm like, call me if you need me. So I went and played golf that day, and I couldn't even tell you how much money I made that day. It was a great day. I was like, heck yeah.
That's
Heck
my
yeah.
day. That's my day. I bought 2 4-plexes today and sold a property, and we just contracted a 6-plex yesterday. So I'm excited. It's a good week.
That is amazing.
So I'm like,
Congratulations.
I'm in vacation mode. I'm about to go get my nails done.
Yes.
So I have a question for you. I have a question for you guys, and it's something very, very simple. And I've been doing this for a long time, but please help me out with this. I'm having an issue with the key retrieval upon closing. Are you guys having issues with that as a listing agent? The way I've worked this out, even as a buyer's agent in the past, why do people not understand the concept of you don't get the key until the property until the filed funds? I mean, why is that misunderstood over and over again? I've been having issues with that key issue. I've been having that key issue time and time again. Please help me with that, guys.
Well, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, one of the motivators of that is I feel like every closing I've had for the last few months has been pushed back, right?
Yes.
You're waiting on appraisal, you're waiting on paperwork, you're waiting on something. Everything's getting pushed back. So, and I think everybody just gets really, really antsy. Like, I was supposed to move last weekend and I'm not moving this week, you know what I mean? They get really antsy, so they're pushing forward to that.
She fucking forgot.
So, sales 101, if you keep running into an objection, you're not covering that objection up front, right? So if you continue to run into something, you need to let that know. So as soon as you get something under contract, I'd say it to them flat out. Hey, look, you're not getting keys until it funds, okay? Keys will be, you need to let me know when you're doing your final walkthrough. I'm going to go get the keys and the lockbox off the house. I will leave them with title, and I will instruct title not to deliver them to you until it funds. That's what I do. And then it gets me out of the picture, right? So now they're not calling me to see if it's funded. They're calling title, right? And they're like, let title handle that. But yeah, if you keep running into the same problem over and over again, unfortunately, it's your fault for not covering it, detailed enough up front.
So and I've come across the last 2 closings. I've had overzealous agents where one was like, I'll retrieve everything and take it to you for title. I'm like, no, I got this. Like we discussed. The same with that buyer final walkthrough. It's like I get pushback over that. Last agent too was like, well, I'll tell title to just give me the key and I'll hold on to it until it funds and then I'll give it to my buyer. No, it's going to stay at title until it funds. So, okay, yeah. I'll just have to put it in writing somehow and reiterate it because I guess I'm not making a good emphasis on it. So,
right. Yeah, and I just leave it with title. and I work with a lot of title companies. They know I'm serious about it. Do not give them to me until you push the big green button. And then the worst part about that too, and I'm usually too soft about it, but if you have something that closes on Friday at 3,
Yes.
and I know it, it's not funding until Monday.
I was going to say that too. You don't. Yeah. Don't ever do
that's the most
closings on
frustrating
Friday.
one.
I always stuck close.
Trust me, Hillary, you're so right on that. Oh my gosh, but these pushbacks are great.
I never Wednesday close date, because then I know by Friday they'll be funded. Because I don't care. Like, I just had somebody ask the lady just asked me today on the property I closed on today. Oh, well, can they start moving in? They have to be out of their apartment. I was like, no, sorry. I said, if I were you, I would have the lender fund the title company like the day before, make sure title has the funds early. And then when we sign, which I said, I have a 9 o'clock signing. When I sign, then title can release funds, but
Oh, we can't hear Hillary.
We're losing you, Hillary.
Yeah.
But I love that. I love that.
What Hillary said,
Hillary. Thank you.
I am going to repeat what Hillary said because it was gold.
Yes.
You can ask the title company or the lender to fund it early. So for those of y'all that don't understand the process of this, so I'm just going to go through the process. What typically happens is you go in and everybody signs all the documents. Then the documents are sent to the lender. The lender reviews them for accuracy, making sure nothing was skipped. Once it's okay, the lender goes in and pushes a big green button and sends all the money to title. Guys, it is not instantaneous. It is not like Venmo, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah. It can take 3-4 hours, maybe a full day from time to time for that money to actually transfer. Now, with that being said, you can ask them to send the money before everybody signs, because it goes to title. The title company holds it and then distributes it. Yeah. So say, hey, look, can you send it in early? If you're in that big of a damn hurry, you need to get them to send it in early. Some lenders will do it, some lenders won't, but it never hurts to ask.
This is also what I'll say is that in my experience, whenever this is the risk you take. Now, as a seller, if you're selling your own property, like if this is my own property, so it's really, I go, Marco, what do you think? He goes, it's up to you. And I was like, well, then I'm going to say no, because the risk you take is they move in, funding doesn't happen, something happens, and now they don't want to move, and now you got to evict them. So like, I just don't take that risk. Sorry, no, I don't care if it's a Friday. Y'all submitted the offer. Who chose a Friday close date? Not my problem. And in the circumstance of like, if it was this Friday, well, it's a holiday on Monday, so you really don't even get keys till Tuesday. So I would just say be really mindful of your contract on what closing dates you select. I always try and select a Wednesday, maybe Thursday, so that we know by Friday it will fund. The other thing I'll say too is you can also just not take the keys to title, just keep them. That way you know they can't get keys till funding. Then you just have to figure out a way to get them to the agent, or honestly in that scenario, because they're the ones in the hard spot, they want the keys. I'd be like, okay, I have the keys, come meet me by my house, meet me at the gas station, agent, and I'll hand over the keys. But that way, like if you're really worried about it, then just don't even give the keys to title. Just get it to them after the fact.
I love it. It's ruthless too. Come to me.
Yeah.
I don't give two shits. Like, I'm like, you come to me, I'm not driving to you. You want the keys? Well, you come out of your way and get them from me. I literally don't care. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah, I've had really bad experiences with people not leaving the like closing, and then you have issues and all this stuff. I've been through that before. I actually got keys before things got funded, and it was just a mess. So yeah, unfortunately, I had this last 2 deals have been the same seller, and the seller took the keys to closing, which was a big no-no. I already spoke to him about that. But yeah, thank you guys. Thank you, Hillary and Colin, for the good advice. Thank you guys.
No, that was great advice.
I had never considered like having the lender fund early, but she was like, well, they have nowhere to live and they need to move like right away. And I was like, that's cool and all. Then you work your magic with the lender, since that's your relationship. You work your magic and you make them fund it early, so that as soon as they sign, because I signed first thing this morning, I was like, the holdup isn't going to be me, it's going to be y'all. So you do whatever you have to do to get them in and signing and funding. can have keys same day. I don't care, but I want to make sure I at least get the funding off. I don't necessarily need the funds. As long as title says we're funded and I get the final HUD and everything should be going through, then we're good.
Yeah, that's a very technical aspect of it, but Hillary's right. I mean, it can bite you. Things happen, man.
Oh
I mean,
gosh, yes.
Things happen, guys, and for some reason, by the way, this is something, if you watch the video that I put about the cycle of a transaction, and I jokingly, but not jokingly put right towards the end, something scary will happen 2 times. Something will happen the week of closing that'll absolutely terrify everybody in the entire situation. I don't know what it is. It varies every single time, but something goes down. Guys, you can't trust anything. Something always happens. Something
Like
always
a storm, Colin?
happens.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. You know, like I'm so thankful that this last deal closed like right before the storms hit, because it's been raining nonstop in Houston. Not today, it's beautiful today, but my goodness, these storms make me nervous because, you know, the flooding and then all this stuff and then the Valentine's Day freeze we had. Oh my goodness, but you're right. And Mother Nature will strike.
It is Mother Nature. Somebody hits a wrong button and sends it to a different account. Something guys, there's always something that happens. I'm telling
Yes.
you, it's inevitable. You know, speaking of the weather one, this one was hysterical because there was another investor friend of mine, and it was before the hailstorm we had 2 years ago, and they were due to close the day after the hailstorm. Well, the hailstorm just beat the house to hell. I mean, tore up the roof, broke windows, everything.
Oh
And
my
so all
God.
of a sudden, the closing didn't happen. And guess what?
Yeah.
Now he's got to make insurance claims. That took weeks. He had to go put a new roof on it. You know, the whole closing got held up for a month. And everybody was furious because something happened, guys. It's going to happen. Don't count your chickens before they hatch, especially in this business. And I know it's hard sometimes because we're so far between, you know, when you sign a contract to close and, you know, you're trying to make your mortgage payment or God only knows what. Don't write a check because that check will bounce because something will happen the minute you count on it. Promise, 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 promise. Hey, while I got a whole bunch of people on here, for those of y'all that don't know, Susie Williams is on here. She's listening in, but she's muted and has her camera off. But I see you, Susie. Everybody tell Susie you love her because she keeps the wheels on the bus going round and round. So.
We love you.
Hey, Susie.
With that.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Yep. The wonderful, incomparable Susie keeps the wheels on the bus going round and round. So
You're a rock star, Susie. Thank you for everything.
Thank you so much.
Thank
guys,
you.
if you've got a question about something technical, paperwork, you can't get a hold of me or anybody, info at White Line Realty. Susie mans that. She knows her stuff inside and out. She's probably the smartest one out of all of us. So get on there if you need her. Info at White Line Realty.
Guys, he's being too generous.
Susie, don't lie. You've helped me out a lot personally.
True story.
Actually,
True story.
Probably 90% of what I know came from Susie, me sitting at Susie's desk. So, Susie, how did I screw this up? Guys, I'm going to let y'all go. We went for quite a long time. This is wonderful. Just to let everybody on here know, from now on, Wednesday trainings will be at 11:30. I do expect everybody to bring a lunch so we can sit down, talk. We can share with the Lord's blessings that the bounty and talk about it. And but it's just, I want to get this form. I like having lots of people on here. There's a lot of great questions that came up, great solutions. And I love hearing it from everybody else and how everybody handles it, because there is no right way to do. I mean, there's a legal way, but other than that, there's not really a right way to do real estate. So things happen. I mean, there's just a lot of audibles. And if we're not flexible and if we don't have options, then we're all screwed. So continue to, if you've got something, write it down and bring it to the training, because I love talking about all these scenarios, because it makes me sharper and hopefully makes all of you sharper as well.
Yes. Thank you so much, Colin. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Hillary, have
So
fun at
just
the beach. Everybody else, have a great Memorial Day.
Hillary,
So just
show
to
your nails
clarify,
done. Let me know when you get them done.
okay, just to clarify though, so every Wednesday going forward is no longer 10, it's at 11:30.
That is correct.
Noted.
Okay, cool, because I got to change my calendar.
Me too.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, me too. Secondly, guys, also, if you are not on the Facebook page, and I know all of you are, but if you know another agent that is, I know Facebook is kind of waning in popularity right now, but guys, it's the only way for us to really keep a closed group right now. So you need to be on there, and you need to have alerts set up for whenever the White Line Realty Agents group makes a post. It is important. There's not a ton of posts in there, but if it is something, that is usually the fastest way for us to disseminate information and to note changes like the timing and all that good stuff. So make sure you're following, and you do have your phone set up for alerts. Even if you're not a Facebook person, I don't care. Make an account and just have one group. I don't care. It's that easy.
Yes, sir.
Hey guys, just real quick, I am going to have a listing coming soon. I'll probably put it live sometime this weekend. I'm going to post it, so if you know anyone, it's in the Stone Oak area. It's a 4-bedroom, 3 full bathrooms, and it's really nice. So I haven't taken
If you're selling it for
pictures.
$160, I know a person.
Oh no. Yeah, no, we're listing it at $375. So it's really nice. The guy just bought it 2 months ago, but he's militaries and he has to sell it. He was gonna stay here, but then they changed everything, so now he needs to sell. And he's only spent the night in the house 10 nights since he bought it. So 10 nights in 2 months. It's really nice. And
He'll still probably make 10% on it.
Gated community. It's I don't know, it's nice. So it's not, just so you know, 943 Maltese. I haven't taken pictures, but I know it's on Zillow from 2 months ago.
Yeah, go in the White Line group. It's a great way to place it. Like you said, we've got all these people looking for off-market deals because it's competitive. Let's help each other out.
Put it in the White Line group. Post it in the group, because I think one of my team members on my team is looking in that price point, and that might be perfect for her. She's been like searching and searching, can't find anything, so this might really be perfect for her.
Okay, I will. Yeah, I'll post it later today.
Okay, perfect.
All right, thank you guys.